All right. Okay, so welcome back. Hopefully, last lecture where we covered the registration process, hopefully that was beneficial. Like I know that they cover that, like I said last time, maybe in Uni 100 or whatnot, but now we know that everybody in here has been oriented on how to register for classes, what you need to register for, so on and so forth. So just a brief reminder, if you are freshmen, and particularly what I mean by that is as of August 20th, if you only had 0 to 29 hours of college credit completed, you're considered a freshman. Your registration will open up this Tuesday, November 13th. So honestly, that Monday, I'd get you some, NOS or Red Bull or Monster or whatever your chosen choice, or whatever your choice is. Stay up late that night and get your choices in as soon as possible. Again, my primary piece of advice is when in doubt, meet with your advisor. Make sure you have a good idea of what you need to take next semester. We're also going to get back to business as usual in terms of our quizzes. If you recall, I canceled the quiz last week, or this week I guess I should say. Again, the idea was for you to take that time and research the schedule, research your degree program, and make sure you have a good idea of what it is that you need to take. So any questions on housekeeping moving forward? All right. So like I said, we're back to business as usual. So we're going to continue with our previous path. We're going to have a faculty introduction and a main speaker. So our faculty this week is Dr. Trax. He's one of our electrical engineering faculty. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself and what he teaches and what he researches. So with that, let's hear it for Dr. Masad. I'll get you later.
Let's see if this thing works.
All yours.
All right. Okay, I will have a brief presentation, probably around 10-15 minutes. So basically it will be around who I am and what courses do I teach here at Marshall, and a brief introduction to my research regarding power and energy systems. Okay, so this is my second year at Marshall. So I got my master and PhD from Colorado School of Mines back in 2013, and before joining Marshall, I was visiting assistant professor at Texas A&M Kingsville for 3 years. And as you can see, as I said, this is my second year here at Marshall. Area of expertise, so I'm teaching and all the courses related to energy and power systems. So particularly we have 2 main courses, and I will have one slide shows you those courses. And if you are wondering what energy and power systems, so particularly how we generate electricity and how we transmit that electricity and how we deliver it to the customer or to the residential area. And I think I have one particular slide that shows you that process, or what we call them power system components, the generation, transmission, and distribution. So now, if your field is electrical engineering, and you will be able to take 2 main courses that related to energy and power systems. So first course is EE 370 with electric machinery. On that course, you will learn the principle of operation for electrical generators and electrical motors. And that includes DC machines and AC machines as well. You will also take a course which is EE 425, which is electric power system. In that course, you will learn the main component of power system, or what we call it the power grid. So we'll start with the generation. Then after the generator, you will have something called step-up transformer. That step up voltage from generation level to the transmission level, and then you will also study the transmission line system and then the distribution system as well. Last semester, we developed energy conversion lab here at Marshall. So when you take an electric machinery course, there is a lab session there where you go to the lab, and you can see we have a complete station for electric machines. That includes DC and AC machines, so you will have hand-on experience how the rotating machine works. So how you convert mechanical power to electrical power of its generator, and how you convert electrical power to mechanical power of its motor. We also have a complete station for photovoltaic solar system that shows you how the solar system works, or PV solar system, where you convert the energy available in the sun into electricity. We also have a complete station for power transformers, and again, because it's one of the main components in power system where you step up or step down the voltage when you are moving from one part in the power system to another part. So now if you need, what's power system? So the power system component, there is a generation. And we have electricity here. I am sure, even though if you don't have enough background, you know, okay, somebody has generated that electricity somewhere. So somewhere there is a power generation, and what they call it bulk power system. So they're generating a massive amount of power, so let's say around 1,000, 2,000 megawatt, or each turbine will generate around 200 megawatts. So usually you have more than one turbine in one power plant. So that's what they call it, the generation. And from the generation, when they have to transmit that power and deliver it to us. So will they have something called step-up transformer, because they have step up the voltage from the generation level to the transmission level. Why they need to do that? Because when they step up the voltage, current will go down, and they can reduce the losses when they are transmitting the power, because losses are proportional to the current, which is they call it I square R, which is heat. So they cannot transmit the power on the generation voltage level. They have to step up the voltage, so that means current will go down, so they can increase the transmission line efficiency. So after that, you can see that's the transmission line. If you are driving your car, you will see those high transmission lines. Most of them are in the US, they're operating at 230 kilovolt, or 345, or 500, or 765 kV. So that's what they call it, extra high voltage. So the generation, usually, it doesn't exceed 24 kV. So they have to step voltage from 24 kV up to those higher voltages, so they can increase the transmission efficiency. Once the power gets close to the load area, so they have to step down the voltage and deliver the power to the customer. So those are the main components. You have a generation, transmission, and the last one we call it distribution. So as you can see in the top there, so those are the main component of electric power system. Now, in terms of my research area, as I told you, so I think when you say power generation, so there's power plants that based on fossil fuels. So they're burning natural gas, or burning fossil fuels in general. So they can generate electricity. But there is only another new source of generation, with renewable energy sources. So they can use solar energy, or they can use wind energy, or they can use hydropower. My research mainly is how to increase the penetration of this renewable energy into the power grid. So if you look to the US, you will find the total renewable energy generation, it doesn't exceed 12% of the total generation. So that is a really small percentage. And they still need a lot of research in order to increase the penetration of those renewable energy sources into the power grid. And if I may ask you, who knows why integrating renewable energy resources into the power grid is very challenging? Why we only have 12% of the total generation in the US comes from renewable? Why it's not 50% or 60%? What's the main challenges? Any idea?
We don't have the infrastructure to support it.
Such as? What kind of infrastructure?
We haven't built enough of the renewable resources in order to supply the power that we need.
Let me put it in a different way. So the problem with renewable, they are variable, which means, so if I have a solar panel on the top of this building, during the night, it doesn't produce any power because there is no sun. So if I am relying 100% on that PV solar to power this building, I need to find another solution, so during the night I will still have power supply to this building. So I need, for example, energy storage. So during the day I can store some energy, and during the night, when the PV solar doesn't produce any power because there is no sun, that I can discharge power from the battery and power that building. So now that battery comes with additional cost. So what's the optimal size for that battery? And when it goes to larger scale, that means utility, they need to build a huge battery storage system, and that comes with additional cost. So when you add the PV solar cost with the battery cost, and they generate electricity, and they have to sell that electricity to the customer is paying $1 per kilowatt hour. If that rate goes up, so they say, okay, I need to get power from another source. This is too expensive. So the challenge is, how can they provide a solution to solve this intermittent issue, or this variable nature of those renewable energy sources? Same thing applies for wind. If wind is blowing, we are producing enough electricity. If the wind goes down, So we are not producing enough electricity. So currently the power grid doesn't have those infrastructure, for example, enough energy storage. And for example, we need also to apply some technique called demand management technique. For example, if you go to Europe, if you go to Denmark, I think around 50% from their electricity come from renewable. How they can do that? Besides the country is relatively small, and it's well interconnected with another Europe country. So whenever they're producing a lot of electricity, they don't have demand. They can sell that electricity to the other countries, and they can buy power from the other countries. So they have well interconnected power grid. Also, they have something called demand management technique. So they have smart meters, so they tell their customers, right now you are paying this amount of money. If you are using electricity from 12 noon to 2 p.m., so you are paying, let's say, 10 cents per kilowatt hour. But if you use electricity during the night, you will pay less dollars. So that customer automatically will adjust their energy consumption. They try to use energy more during the night. So that will reduce the peak, and if they are generating more electricity from the wind during the night, so they have enough demand. So all those techniques, demand management and energy storage, we need those techniques in order to increase the penetration of renewable energy sources. So that's my research. My research mainly developing algorithm and methodology to help in integrating those renewable energy sources into the power grid. If you look here, this is up to 2017. As I already told you, that renewable is only 11% of the total generation in the US. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, almost half of that comes from hydro. So you can see 25% of that 11% is from hydropower. So if you need to count solar and wind, it's still a very small portion, and they need to increase that penetration of renewable energy resources. Now, the solution is, so right now, this is the kind of power grid we have right now. That's what they call a traditional power grid. We need to convert to something called smart grid. So if we need to quickly compare between traditional power grid and smart grid, traditional power grid, you have demand here. Whenever they need power, they need to tell the generation here, so they generate more power and transmit it through the transmission line. So it's one way of power direction and one way of communication. So they get the utility here, or they get, okay, we need more megawatts, so they generate more and send power in that direction. Now, if you look to the smart grid is more like a distributed power system where the generation can be within the distribution area, so close to the loads. And also, both utility and customer, they talk to each other. So even the customer, they can build a PV solar on the top of their house, so they generate electricity, and they can sell that electricity back to the utility. So power is going from the utility to the customer, from the customer to the utility. And that process is not simple, but you need a lot of communication technology and a lot of information technology and a lot of energy technology to do that. But once you are able to design that smart grid where it's not a centralized, it's more decentralized power grid, and everybody's talking to each other, they know exactly what's going on in that power grid, and you don't really need to transmit everything. So here, in this case, if I need 2 megawatts, you have to generate those 2 megawatts and send them to the transmission line. Here, you don't need transmission line because you are generating that megawatt close to the loader, so you directly supply that power to the customer. That technique, what they call it, distributed generation. That means it's a generation unit built or installed in the distribution level where it's here instead of there. So you don't really need a transmission line to transmit that power. So that's so now all the research, or my research, aiming how can we convert from traditional power grid to a distributed power grid where generation with high penetration of renewable integrated at distribution level. So that's the end of my presentation. If you have questions, please ask me. Yes?
So would having a smart grid like we have blackouts in cities
Yes. You said blackout, right? Yeah. So when you have, let's say, for example, I'm not sure, last February we had a blackout here in the campus. So why that happened? Because I think during that day we had a severe weather condition, so we lost power from the utility. So if this, for example, if this campus was designed as something called microgrid, that means we have in the campus, we have our own generation which is installed in the campus or which is here in distribution area. So if we lose the connection with the power grid, we can operate as off-grid system. We can supply our local load from our local distributed generation. So that will increase the resiliency and the reliability of the system. So the smart grid, it will be a group of interconnected small microgrid. So you don't, if you lose one main generation, you still can, the system is designed to supply its own power from its own generation. So that definitely will increase the resiliency and the reliability of the system, overall system. Any other questions?
First off, let's give Dr. Masad another
Thank you.
round of applause. And now, a little bit about our main speaker.
Okay. Oh.
I need,
Oh, all right.
I need that.
No, they wouldn't be able to hear me.
No, that's it. That's it. All right, I'll give it to you. A little bit about our main speaker. If you recall, these past couple weeks have sort of been Marshall-themed presentations, and our last presentation, or in that track, is Beth Waugh from Marshall University Career Services. I gotta believe that when you all graduate, you might want a job, right? You might not want a job when they graduate. That's what I thought. In order to do that, there's a number of steps that you'll need to negotiate. Things like the preparation of your resume, going through the interview process, searching out potential job opportunities, and the Office of Career Services is here to help you with that. So Beth's going to talk to you a little bit about their services, what they do, what they can do for you. So I really think it's worth it to pay a little bit of attention to what she has to say. I'm going to turn it over to Beth.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's Friday, right? So we're happy it's Friday, right? And then only one more Friday till Thanksgiving break, so that's even better, right? So who all in here have I spoken to before in a class? Raise your hand. So maybe just a handful. Okay, good. All right, so I'm just going to talk to you today. Interrupt me, please, if you have questions. And if you all could do me a favor and like at 12:45, no matter where I am, cut me off so I can answer questions for you all, okay? Does that work? All right. So this is just a little overview about what we do in our office so we can help you all with your career search. You all, if you're freshmen or sophomores, you're not really thinking about that right now, but what you should be thinking about is internship search. So we can kind of help you with that too, and I think that's important. As Greg mentioned, we can help you with your interview skills. So if you know that you're going to go interview for an internship or a job or even talk to somebody, try to find out who they are, find out more about them, their program, we can kind of help prep you for that. What about, did any of you all in here go to the career fair? Nope? Okay. So have you all been to like a workshop or a convention or anything like that when somebody asks you to tell you a little bit about yourself and you just don't know what to say? Has that happened to anybody in here yet? A few people? So that tends to like make students real stressed out because tell me about yourself. That's like a wide range question, right? So we can help you develop that like 30-second commercial, that elevator pitch. So when you do go out and you're talking to people and you're networking with people, you are better prepared about what to say and how to sell about yourself, okay? Probably the biggest part of what I do during the day, like everyday task, is help students with their professional documents, whether it's resumes, whether it's cover letters. I help a lot of students who are going to professional school, so they're going to get their graduate degree in something. So I help them a lot with their personal statements, any kind of Q&A they have on those applications, things like that. So that takes up a good bit of my day too, especially this time of year because grad school applications are due like in December and January, okay? All right, so one other huge component in our office is trying to help you decide on your major. So I did a little bit of research about you all before I came in here, and I see some of you all haven't really declared a major. Some of you all may be undecided. Some of you all might be just in engineering, but you don't know what emphasis you want to go into, things like that. So your professors are a humongous help to kind of help you decide that. But we can also help you because there's many options out there. And so maybe you're taking a course this semester and you have just decided calculus is not for me. I'm not doing well in it. I don't know if I can progress in engineering, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. That happens to students. But catching that early and deciding what you want to transition into is important, and we can kind of help you with that in our office, okay? Did you all take Focus 2 in your uni class? Raise your hand if you did. Did you all really discuss about it when you did it and talked about your personality and your hauling code and all that stuff? Raise your hand if you all really talked about it. Okay, not that many. I'd say 5-6%. So we can kind of help you look at your personality code and see, well, maybe this would be better for you, or that would be better for you, or maybe I'm more geared toward civil, maybe I'm more geared toward mechanical. So we can kind of help you with that, okay? So I like this graphic. So has anybody here ever set a goal for themselves to do better on a test, do better in sporting events, just anything like that, get into college, whatever it is the case may be? So up here, those of you all who have set goals, has it been smooth sailing to reach those goals? I mean, awesome for you if it is, okay? But normally there's a little bumps along the way, right? So more than likely for you guys, especially your generation, it's going to kind of look like this down here, okay? So you may decide something. You may choose a minor. You don't like that. You're going to go back and choose something else. You're going to do an internship and decide, oh, I don't like civil after all. I want to switch to mechanical. So then you're going to switch to mechanical. And so there's a lot of different things you guys are probably going to do in your lifespan that people of my generation, maybe your parents did not, okay? So just think about that. If your road isn't smooth sailing, that's A-okay. You're just going to take some bumps along the way. So in those bumps and in those valleys, there's positives to that, okay? 10 jobs before you're the age of 40 is what is predicted for your generation. That's a lot. Do you all not think? That's a lot. So average shows right now, research shows that people switch jobs like every 3 to 5 years because if they just don't like what they're doing, they're just going to change, okay? So loyalty in a job, in a position, isn't what it used to be. Like my husband, for example, he lost his job over the summer because he's in sales and it happens. But he had worked for this company for over 20 years. When he was going through and he was applying for new jobs to find a new job, what he found out was they saw that 20 years that he was with that company as he just became just practice. It was just like easy practice with him. He didn't like, you know, he didn't go out there and challenge himself, take on new challenges. So that really wasn't important as he thought it would be. He thought, oh, they'll see I've stayed someplace for 20 years. But it wasn't really like that, okay? So just think about that. And it's okay to make changes. You're not going to be the only one. If you all had to guess how many freshmen and sophomores, well, really freshmen, changed their majors, what do you think the percentage would be? Do you think it's less than 40? What about 40 to 50? What about 50 to 60? Anything over 60? It's, oh gosh, it's about 55 to 60% depending on the college, okay? All right, so one thing that I said we can do is we can help you with your professional documents. So come to us, we can help you. Did any of you all freshmen, did any of you freshmen, were you required to write resumes in your high school? Yay, some of you all were, that's good. What we find is a lot of freshmen, when they come in, they have no idea what to put on there, they have no idea where to start. Word templates are not where to start, okay? So we can kind of help you with that along the way, all right? One thing that I find that the older engineering students like to take advantage of in our office is free printing on resume paper. Okay, do you all even know what resume paper is? Has anybody heard of that? So it's just a thicker weight paper which looks nicer, so they come and they get all those printed before they go to the career fairs. And you can print 10 pieces of paper, but the juniors and seniors, they really come in and take advantage of that. Okay, I'm not going to give a resume talk. That's not what I'm here to do. But what I just want to say is think about how over your next 2, 3, 4 years, you can cultivate good experiences within these headings, okay? So who right now feels like they have really strong technical skills? Good, okay? If you don't, that's something to work on. Who in here has never had a job? Okay. So there are things that you gain on a job, even if it's a part-time job. It doesn't matter if it's an engineering job, that you're going to have this called soft skills. Has everybody heard of soft skills before? Has anybody heard of that? That those soft skills are going to help you in future jobs. So those soft skills are like good organizational skills, able to work in a fast-paced environment, able to work well with others, able to handle conflict, things like that. So even those soft skills is going to be important. And I have students come in my office all the time and say, well, I just work at McDonald's. That's okay. What do you do there? How can we change that to your advantage? Okay? Anybody in here had an internship yet? Good. Are you my seniors? I know there's some seniors in here, so I wonder if it was you guys. Okay. Internships are really, really important. They're not required for you guys, though, right? They're just recommended. Am I correct about that? So, but having an internship is really important. That's going to help fill gaps in your resume. So if you do have a part-time job at the cinema or something, if you have an internship in your field, that's going to be helpful because it's going to stand out, okay? I feel like your college is one of the better colleges to keep you informed of when there are internship openings, so take advantage of that. If you feel like you're not experienced enough for it, come to our office and we can kind of talk through what you have done and see if we can kind of develop those documents for you, okay? So I've already asked about work. If anybody in here has scholarships, if you're in the honors college, anything to do academically when you make the dean's list, hopefully everybody's going to make the dean's list, right? Brag about yourself. So your resume is your selling point. Anything you can add under those honors is good for you. Students just leave it off because they don't think it's important. Well, I got the promise. You'd be surprised at the amount of students who do not get the promise. So you need to put that on your resume if you received it, okay? Activities, all of you all should belong to an organization, okay? Because the engineering department, you all have like the ASME, right, for mechanical? And who are my electrical people in here? Isn't it like IEEE or something like that for your all's organization? What's civil? What is it? ASCE? Okay. So all of you all should belong to those activities and organizations because that is good on your resume because it shows community engagement, campus engagement, okay? And that's going to help you along the way. Have you all ever heard of, when you're on Blackboard, do you all ever pay attention to, it's called Lynda, L-Y-N-D-A? A few have. I think you're probably my upperclassmen. Has anybody gotten on there and played around? Okay. Does anybody know what Lynda does for you? A lot of students see it on there and never ever take advantage of it, but Lynda can give you certifications in certain things, okay? So you can go on there and get certified in Microsoft Excel, okay? You can get certified in Word, whatever you want it to be. Leadership. They will give you all kinds of different certifications to put on your resume. That goes a heck of a lot farther than just saying you're good at it, okay, or you're proficient in it, because this actually shows you persevered all the way through, okay? So take advantage of that. Marshall University has purchased it for you to use for free, so take advantage of that while you can, okay? If you take nothing else from me today, please take this, okay? This is what employers say that you need to have by the time you graduate from Marshall, these 8 traits. If you don't have them now, think about how you're going to gain them, okay? Because this is what they want to see in you guys, what they want to see in the future generations, all right? You can think critically and problem solve, right? That's kind of inherent in your field of study. Is that correct? You all find have a problem and you solve it. Good communication skills. Do you all have good communication skills? Who thinks they have good verbal communication skills? Who thinks they have good written communication skills? Okay. It's really funny. Every time I talk to engineers, you all are like, we don't have any personality. We're dry. We don't talk. I love working with engineering students, okay? So, but think about how you can work on that verbal communication a little bit more, okay? Teamwork. I think you all do a lot of team projects when you get into your curriculum, so that's kind of built in and inherent, so that will be good for you guys. Leadership is a biggie, okay? Do I have anybody in here that lives in the dorms? Are any of you all going to like apply to be an RA or anything in your dorm floor? That's huge leadership experience, so think about doing something like that, okay? In your organizations that you're hopefully going to get involved in, think about your leadership roles you can take in there, whether it's secretary, treasurer, whatever. Think about that, okay? You guys automatically have digital technology built in, right? When I look at your resumes, I see stuff like MATLAB, AutoCAD, right? I don't know what else there is out there. But so you guys automatically have those digital technology, but it's not only knowing how to use it, it's being able to adapt to new technology that's thrown your way, okay? Being professional and having strong work ethic. I will tell you, locally, from our local employers, this is the biggest complaint we get. So being professional. Think about what it means to be a professional employee, all right? And how are you going to talk about that? Career management's what you're going to do over your next 2 to 3 years. And then this is just being diverse, working with diverse clientele, people, okay? So think about how you can gain all those on over your next, whatever years you have at Marshall, and how you're going to put them in writing, okay? Because everybody can say, well, I'm great at problem solving. I'm a good critical thinker. But how are you going to show that in writing? That's important, okay? We can kind of help you with that. All right, so this is just ways to get involved. I think you guys know this. Do you all follow CAB on Twitter, like the Campus Activities Board? Nobody does? Okay. You should, because if you want to get involved, that's a really good way. They post stuff all the time about what's going on around campus. So just get involved. Who commutes? Wow, a good part of you commute. Who are my commuters that are upperclassmen? Would you all feel like if you're a commuter and you're an upperclassman that it's harder to get involved than being on campus all the time? Who are my commuters again? I think that that's true, okay? So think about ways you can get involved in, and it's not going to take tons of your time, okay? All right, so these are just different ways to gain soft skills, not those technical skills. I know that you all, in some of your organizations moving forward, will go to competitions. Y'all aware of this? Yes, that you can do that? Okay. So go into that. That's going to help your soft skills, working with teamwork, trying to solve a problem. Some of you all may be able to go to conferences and give presentations about what you're doing. That's important. Any kind of workshops. So just think about everything you can do that's going to help those soft skills. Okay? Because we have students who come in who are so smart and bright, and they're so knowledgeable about their curriculum, but then they have nothing else to say other than their degree. But you need other items. Okay? All right. Any questions so far? Are you all good? Okay. If you will indulge me, I want to show you this one thing on our website. If you go to Marshall's website and you type in career services, you'd think you'd get our website, wouldn't you? That'd be the smart thing. You don't. Okay? It takes you to like a blank School of Medicine page that no longer exists, and I've asked the computer science people about it, the IT people, and they talk over my head. Something about some kind of algorithm or something or other. So Marshall.edu, and it's just career-services, okay, and you will get us. But I would like to show you this, what can I do with this major, because I think that's important. A lot of students will graduate with your degree, and they think they have to be stuck in one certain thing, but that's not the case, okay? There's a lot of different things, a lot of different variety you can do with your degrees. So if you're on our website, if you go to Students and Resources, you'll see Career Resources right there, and that's kind of what you want, okay, because you're talking about your career. And then it's down here, it's called What Can I Do with This Major? And then you'll be able to go in there. They list them alphabetically. If I remember correctly, I haven't looked at this for a while for engineering. And I can't remember if engineering is just under one big thing or if it's broken up by electrical, civil, mechanical, those sorts of things. So we'll look. There's just engineering. I don't see civil. Do you guys see civil? So that must just mean they're under one. So it will tell you what area you can find a job in, what kind of employers hire for that job, and then what kind of strategies that you need to do while you're here in the college realm to be successful, okay? So this broke it down to any engineering discipline, aerospace, we don't have that at Marshall, right? Okay. Biomedical we have now, but none of you all are biomedical, correct? All right, so here we have chemical, we have civil, we have computer. So it'll tell you all the different employers that hire for that job and where you can find them. Okay, so that's something to think about. So if you're kind of don't know between like civil and mechanical, this might be a good resource to come to that kind of would help you with that. Okay, you all have any questions about that? Okay. Have any of you all been on job tracks? Raise your hand if you have. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so not many. All right, so I will show you that real quick. And what it is it's a job search tool, but I find that most students use it for their document reviews. So you can upload your resumes, you can upload your cover letters, whatever, and we'll review it for you and email you back. And they did something. Do I have any computer people in here? Do you? Okay. Well, you might can help me explain this. They did something over the summer. They gave us an upgrade, and the algorithm it now follows is supposed to be like Spotify. So, did any of y'all listen to Spotify? Or watch Hulu? Anybody watch Hulu or Netflix? So if you listen or watch those things, doesn't it then give you like a recommended like playlist or recommended watch list or something? Okay, that's what this is supposed to do with job tracks now. I don't know if it does, because I've asked students to come tell me, none of them have. So job tracks is free. You don't have to register for it. You don't have to do anything. You just click on it and you're in. Okay? And then once you're in there, it will take you to a place that will say, find a career you'll love. So you can go and fill this out as many times as you want. You can change it. You can do whatever you want to it. If you want to just look for a part-time job right now, if you're looking for internships right now, whatever the case may be, you can go in there and change that as many times as you would like, okay? But what it's supposed to do is they generate these jobs down here for you based on what you filled out, and if you click that's a favorite for you, or you click this one's not interested, then the jobs that come up down here are supposed to be based on your clicks. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? I think it probably makes sense to your generation than it does to mine. Okay? So go in there and kind of try it out. But what the most of the students do is they upload their documents and let us review them and send them back emails. Okay, so you can just add new, and you can see in here where you can add resumes, cover letters, writing samples, other documents, anything, and we'll usually get you an answer back within 24 hours. Okay? It's also like it serves as an iCloud kind of, because I have a lot of students who will upload their certifications in there if they've gained a certification in something. They upload their unofficial transcripts, put those in there. So it's kind of like a holding ground that they know that's where they're always going to be in one place. Okay? So you can kind of think about that too. You all have any questions about that, or have used it and it didn't work, or anything? Any feedback on it at all? I'll be happy to take it back. Okay. Okay, so in career services, we try to provide you opportunities to network and get to know people within your discipline. Who feels comfortable? What is networking? Y'all just tell me what you all think it is. That's right. It's just building a base of people that in your field of study, okay, that's outside of who you know. And I find a lot of students are not comfortable with this. They're not comfortable with going up to a stranger and talking to them. Are you all comfortable with that? Like going up to a stranger and just saying, hi, what do you do? Can you tell me a little bit about, you know, your corporation or your organization? And I feel like students kind of back away and shy from this a little bit, okay? But we try to provide you opportunities that makes it more comfortable and not in a life and death situation. Like, this is going to cost me $80,000 a year job, okay? So we try to provide these that get you comfortable with networking. You go in and talk to people in your field, find out more about them. career fairs, your professional organizations here at Marshall. Does anybody here have a LinkedIn account? Awesome. I was expecting none. That's great. That is a great way to network. And if you don't have one as a freshman and sophomore, I think that's okay. Juniors and seniors, you need one, okay? Because more and more, that's how employers are reaching out to graduates, and that's how you're getting jobs and getting to know people, okay? So if you look at the top, I tried my best to find a stat for 2017, but I don't know if it's available yet, but I couldn't find one. But for 2016, 70% of new hires came from networking. That's huge, okay? Normally, most of the jobs, I think like 75% of the jobs you apply for will be on the internet. Like you'll find them online, obviously, and do everything online, send in your resume and all that good stuff. But of that, 70% were hired because of someone they know. So you all putting in your resume places or your application places and you don't know anybody, the chances are it might not even get looked at, okay? So getting to know people in your field is really, really important, okay? Do any of you all right now know any engineers? Good, good. And do you have a good enough relationship with them that you feel like they would help you out if you needed it for employment? Okay. So for those of you who don't think about that, professors are a really good lead way into that. So use your professors if you don't know anybody. They can set you up, all right? Okay, I talked just briefly about LinkedIn. I don't think it's as important for freshmen and sophomore. I do think that you can have one if you want one, but juniors and seniors, it's really important because that's the way you're kind of going to get out there, start networking with people. What's it called on LinkedIn when you have like a friend? Is it an endorsement? Endorsement, is that what it's called? Connection? Okay, so as many connections as you can have, the better. We have found lately that a lot of companies are just advertising their jobs on LinkedIn and nowhere else because it's free, okay? So I think that's really important, and you need to get on LinkedIn. Jennifer Brown in our office, not me, but Jennifer Brown in our office has a certification, like she's certified in LinkedIn. So if you feel like you have one but it doesn't look good enough, she can kind of walk through that with you, okay? Or if you feel like you cannot start one at all, you're having issues, she can also help you with the startup, okay? But I really suggest you all think about that. This is what we do in our office. Everything has passed the deadline. So none of this is available to you guys, but this is what we do every semester, okay? I think at least one time before you graduate, because this might be the only time I speak to you all. So I think one time before you graduate, you need to go to an etiquette dinner, but it's not something you need to do repeatedly, but I think it's something you need to do one time. Has anybody in here gone? You have? Anybody else? So an etiquette dinner it's a 4-course meal, and the food's pretty good, but we have an etiquette consultant come in and kind of teach you how to handle yourself during a meal, okay? So how do you pass the bread to the right or to the left? Where do you put your backpacks, purses, anything like that? So she will help you with all that, and it's free. And I do think it's something you need to do one time, okay? So just think about that. We offer job shadowing in our office every semester. I think you all probably saw this semester. Did you all see it? Yes? So if you're really unsure about what direction you want to go in engineering or something like that, go spend a day with them. Because honest to goodness, I think that you will learn more in one day talking to an engineer about their pros and their cons and what they might do differently when they were a student than just talking to one of us. Okay? And we can set you up with that. I think the dates in March are March 1st and March 8th, and I can't remember the April dates off the top of my head. Okay? All right. I'm done. So, do you all have any questions for me that you can think about? Anything at all? We're located, y'all know where we're located? In the little brown house beside Harless.
Any questions? I do have one comment before she leaves, and I don't know if you mentioned this, so stop me if when you're going through that job application process, let's say you make it to the short list and they put you on the list for an interview, I
Yeah, we actually had, well, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but it's an issue, okay? And so we have found that, I didn't know this, and I think you guys probably don't know this either, that some human resource departments they have back doors to your social media. So even if you set it up to be private, they can still get in there. So don't think privacy saves you, because it doesn't always save you, okay? Anything else? Thank you all for listening to me this afternoon. I appreciate it.
Well, two quick questions, or two quick items. First off, don't forget your quiz. I am going to have a quiz uploaded later today. It's going to close next Friday at 11. And don't forget to sign in. That's all I got. See you next week.